Welcome back. We continue tonight with our next installment of the People's Presidential Project, produced by the great team at Concord TV in Concord, New Hampshire. We start tonight with the comments of former New York Governor George Pataki, who's focusing on national security.
To be the people's president, you have to know that the most important obligation of government is to provide for the safety and security of the American people. We are not doing that right now. I was governor of New York on September 11th. I saw the horrible consequences of people thinking that because radical Islam was thousands of miles and an ocean away, that it didn't pose a threat to us here. It did then, and it does now. We cannot look the other way and allow incidents like what almost happened in Garland, Texas to happen across this country, and we cannot allow another attack like September 11th. We have to do more to rebuild our military, to support the Kurdish fighters and the Sunni fighters on our side on the ground against ISIS. And if need be, I would send American strike forces to destroy their training camps and recruitment centers so we can attack them there before they can attack us here. No trillion-dollar nation building, no 10-year war, simple, quick strikes to protect us here. We protect the American people. We reform the way Washington operates so that it operates in the people's interest and not the politicians and the powerful's interest. We lower the tax burden on the American people and expand economic opportunity. And I guarantee you, the 21st century is going to be the greatest century America has ever known, and your future and the American people's future will see the dreams you have for yourself and your families come true. God bless you, and God bless this great country.
Our next possible presidential hopeful is someone who's not announced yet, but taking a look at it, another former governor, Bob Ehrlich of Maryland, my old colleague from the House of Representatives. He used his opportunity to define what he thinks being the people's president really means.
That's a subjective term, and people manipulate that term in various ways. What does that mean? I think it means, I hope it means, it should mean honesty and integrity. That does not guarantee you agree with me on every position I would take, on every appointment I would make as a governor or as a president. That's not the game. It's when you go to bed at night, you know the country's in safe hands, and that you know, despite disagreements we may have on one issue or another, I think I have the best interest of the country at heart in making that decision, making that appointment, in issuing that order, in sponsoring that piece of legislation. This country obviously has some problems right now. It's dysfunction with regard to job creation. We have serious cultural problems, and we're weak with regard to foreign policy. There's not the sense of strength the United States has had over the years. When the greatest force for good in the history of the world exits stage left, this is what happens. So I do think that all this is relevant to my answer, and that's as good as I can do in the short term concerning what my direction would be, how I feel about this position, and the importance of integrity and honesty for any president, for any leader in any organization, let alone the most powerful position in the history of the world.
Well, you'd heard what those two former governors had to say. Now let's hear what is on your mind. Our first comment comes from Susan, who has some concerns about the NSA and privacy and security. She writes in, Ben Franklin said those who are willing to give up liberty for security don't deserve either. Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. This is what this wonderful country was built on. That is the kind of character it will take to keep the country, the willingness to die for this country and all that it stands for. So what kind of character is there in saying, take my liberty, just give me security? Thought-provoking, Susan, and we appreciate it. Our next comment comes from Michael, who writes in after enjoying a segment on last night's program as Armstrong Williams spoke about Dr. Ben Carson. He writes, JD, I've always admired Armstrong Williams, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear about his friendship and admiration for Dr. Ben Carson. Thanks for having him on your show. And thank you for writing in. We hope you'll be back with us tomorrow night for another edition of Newsmax Prime. For now, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.